Hi guys, what's worse than being laughed at? Being laughed at twice, and that's exactly what happened to Nadine Dorries when she appeared on a panel with Stephen Kinnock, a Labour MP. Now, Nadine was on for some reason on Question Time, answering questions about Reform's plan when it comes to immigration, and it didn't go very well. Have a listen.
You cannot blame the last government for the many thousands of people who've arrived illegally in this country since you came into power. You know this one in, one out scheme? We've sent 46 back out of thousands. 46 have gone back, but France have sent us 23. And out of those 46, one of them has come back again. It just isn't working. It is not a deterrent. And the only time or in the future when this problem is going to be dealt with any effectiveness and a plan is going to be delivered is when the two parties that have completely failed to control this have gone and Reform take power, because Reform are the only party who have a plan in stopping illegal immigrants coming to our shores. You may laugh, you may not. When
what is that
Reform
plan,
is
Okay, before we get to the plan, you know, if the Question Time audience is laughing at you, it's pretty terrible, because it's generally a pro-Tory or pro-Reform audience. So she started off by saying, stop blaming the previous government. You have to take responsibility. And then she went on towards the end of this, attacking the previous government and the current one.
What is the plan?
Well, leaving the ECHR is the first most important part of that plan.
So is international cooperation not
an important part? And as the young man said, we may
what would that
use
do
the Royal Navy.
What would leaving the ECHR do to international cooperation? Do you think it would help or hinder?
I don't, it's when it comes to our borders, well, help or hinder is irrelevant. Help or hinder.
What? Help or hinder is irrelevant. You need to work with other countries. Like, if people are coming from, through France, they're crossing the channel from France, then you need to work with France in order to stop them from coming over, if your plan is to stop them. So Reform's plan, if they have a plan, is we're not actually going to work with the French. Okay? So how are you going to send people back to France if you're not going to work with the French? I don't know if Nadine Dorries is presenting the official policy or if it's just she's extracting something from her backside. But either way, you have to work with those countries in Europe if you want to send people back there.
Is totally irrelevant. Our job is to protect our borders. We're paying, I think it's £4 billion a year on asylum hotels at the moment. That's just on the cost of the asylum hotels. That's not on the resources that the NHS, that are being channeled into the NHS also, and into our public services. So, Stephen, it's not just a case of stopping people coming into our country, into asylum hotels and draining our finances. It's also a case of making sure that in the future that the UK can actually keep an NHS that's viable, keep an NHS that we can fund, because at the moment it's a black hole that money is going into because we have thousands of people arriving in our country. And it's about maintaining the integrity of our public services.
Okay, so her party put the people in the asylum, in the ex-hotels in the first place. And now she's complaining about the cost of people in hotels. So what is Reform UK's alternative? Well, it seems to be to not send people to hotels or ex-hotels. It's to send them to an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. That's where they want to send them, to be processed. Now, how much do you think that would cost? So a comparison between somebody staying in an ex-hotel in Luton compared to somebody being transferred to the middle of the Atlantic, where there's no infrastructure in place at the moment that needs to be built, needs to be maintained, and all the resources have to be flown in there. You know, if they need more bread or more water, that all has to be shipped in. This is insane. And how much would it cost? Well, Reform has said that it would cost £10 billion altogether, and that includes sending people to Afghanistan. It involves all of the infrastructure that needs to be. No, it's pie in the sky. It would cost billions just to build the infrastructure there and to maintain it. And we're not even talking about the staff required and the flights sending people over there. Because remember, if a migrant or a refugee or asylum seeker agrees, then you don't need security. But many people would not agree to go, so you will need security, and that's really expensive. What was the point in having Nadine Dorries on this show? Reform have a number of MPs. Lee Anderson could have gone on. I don't think he's all that busy. Why wasn't he on instead of somebody who isn't even an elected official? Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.